One of the things I struggle with as a school counselor is that I have a hard time tracking whether I am effective in the work that I do with students, specifically with individual sessions that I'm having with students. I don't have a lot of data to support that what I'm doing is really helping students. And I want to talk a little bit today about how we can gather, first of all, some of that data in terms of our effectiveness. Then also a way for us to track that data and keep that in a place that's accessible, that can help us to look at some trends, patterns, things like that with that kind of data. So I'm going to use Google Forms to demonstrate an easy way to create forms, questionnaires, essentially surveys that you can have students fill out that will allow you to gather some perceptual data, the student perceptions of your effectiveness as a counselor. So you can see that I'm going my browser here. I'm going to go to my Google stuff, and I'm going to go to my Drive, and I'm going to go over to Create, and on this side here, we're going to go to Forms. Now I'm just going to go to the default form. I'm not going to get fancy here right off the bat, and it'll start right off with the question. So we have to come up with a question in terms of our effectiveness in working with students. And I'm going to say that my first question will be, are you satisfied with the help that you received from Mr. Hump? Question mark. Now we can put a help text in, so if we want to add an example, or i.e., and have maybe an example of to help illustrate what it is, what our question is really asking. And I'm going to, and then there's also different question types. So we can have a text where they would do a short answer, a paragraph text, which would be a longer answer, multiple choice. We can do check boxes, choose from a list, so we'd create a list and they could choose an option. A scale, so that would be like a Likert scale, so ranging from not at all to somewhat to all the way down to they were very satisfied, something like that. We usually call those a Likert scale. I usually, so for this and some others, I'm not going to get into all of these here. Are you satisfied with the help that I'm going to use a Likert scale because I feel that a Likert scale allows us to, and I will base all of my questions on the Likert scale, and then maybe have some questions where I'm going to have ask students to answer in a short answer kind of a question, maybe a paragraph on one of the questions. But I like the Likert scale because I think the data it's easy to read if you do all the questions formatted in a Likert scale. So I'm going to do the scale, and then label 1 will be, we'll say 1 is not at all satisfied. That never happens. Students are always very satisfied. Label 5 would be, now why is it going to label 5 and not label 2? Completely satisfied. Now I'm going to have to play around with this to see why it is that I can't put something in for each. So, you can come back to that, and then you can hit done if you're satisfied with what you've done there. And I have to come back and try to fix why it's not doing what I want it to do. If you want to add another question, which we do, we're going to say add item. And this would be, so here we go. So this is how it would appear. Not at all to completely satisfied. And I guess you can't put a specific qualifier. Would that be the right word? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But we can't say completely satisfied, somewhat satisfied, neutral. We can't do that. So you can kind of see how the Likert scale looks. And then we can create another question. We can send the form, but I think for today that's as far as I'm going to go, because I have already spent a lot of time